It happens to everyone. It happens to the best of us. Maybe especially to the best of us. These moments when your training just feels like it isn't going anywhere. So what do you do? The other day we circled up after class like we do to chat and talk about whatever, and plateaus came up. We started talking about plateaus, where when you're training and you're making progress, and then you're just not making any progress. So we talked about that. Those plateaus happen to everyone. If you've been training, the longer you've been training, it's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to you multiple times, because everybody goes through this process of making visible progress, tangible progress, and then moments where it's intangible, it's invisible progress. Now, that's maybe the first key thing, which is it is still progress. Progress is still being made. It's just invisible, it's just intangible. You just don't notice that it's happening. Usually people around you will still notice that it's happening, but you won't. But in some cases, even they aren't noticing, because it's easy to see progress that goes like this. It's hard to see progress that goes like this. Yes, this is going up, but it looks like it's just flat, right? That's what's happening. You're hitting this plateau. Your training just flattens out for a while. That moment, it's really an important moment. In fact, for a lot of people, that's when you quit. That's when you stop training. Because not feeling like you make progress makes you feel like you're wasting your time. You're not accomplishing anything. Why are you still doing this? Maybe I should be doing something else. You get doubt. You lose confidence. You stop moving forward. But you are making progress. You are moving forward. And I tell you what, if anything's going to make you not move forward, it's not going. It's stopping. If you feel like you aren't making progress, so you're like, well, I just won't go tonight. Well, then, of course, you're not making progress. Now you're actually not making progress because you didn't go. You didn't turn up. You didn't do the work. The work still has value even if you feel like it's not making progress, because all of it is cumulative. And it happens to different people at different times. They talk about how the different martial arts, the white belt's the hardest belt to get because you got to actually get through the door. But then you have your people quit at, well, for the sake of this talk, white, yellow, blue, green, brown, black. A lot of people quit at yellow belt. They've trained for a little while, then they stop coming. Then they get to blue belt, and then that's actually where it happens probably the most. And in fact, jiu-jitsu has the same kind of thing. They call it the blue belt blues, where you're training for a while and you just drop off. Most people don't get past that. A lot of people don't get past that. In fact, some people will say that there's a mark of a purple belt in jiu-jitsu is that somebody who's likely to get their black belt because they made it past the blue belt blues. No matter when it happens to you, sometimes it happens early on. Sometimes you go through most of your rank without ever running into these moments where you feel this way until you get brown belt, black belt, maybe even past black belt. Usually it's happened to you at least once before then, but it happens to everyone. Just maybe different times. It's a natural part of the process. It's something that will happen, and it's because of how we receive the information, how we feel about our progress. One of the metaphors that I've always really liked for this moment is like drawing back an arrow, and it feels like you're not moving forward, and feels like maybe even feel like you're moving backwards, right? And like a bow and arrow, as you move backwards, you know that that's a step that has to happen for that arrow to propel forward. And so use that time to point. As it draws back, find where you're going to go, so that when it releases, that you go where you want, what you've been pushing for. But as we continue to talk on the mat the other day, one of the students, Cheyenne, she mentioned what she thinks about when she thinks about the dojo-kun, one of the dojo-kun being cultivate a spirit of effort and perseverance, and how important that is. And she took it even further, and she said, I like to really think about that cultivating part, like a farmer. A farmer doesn't have crops all year round. There's a period of time where they cultivate knowing the progress will come. They know the crops will come. So they cultivate the fields, they ready the soil, they plant the seeds, they do all of the things with no sign that anything's going to happen that year. But the people who prepare the best, the people who cultivate the best, always have the best result. They're the ones who succeed, the ones who go the furthest, the ones who maximize the return on investment when that starts spiking back up again. These moments are so important. So use them, point the arrow, cultivate the fields, and find a way to prepare yourself for the progress that's coming. And if I'm honest, you're gonna have progress in those periods of time. Maybe it's 6 months. Maybe we'll call it 6 months. Maybe you have 6 months where you feel like you've plateaued. Well, the truth is, if you filmed yourself or you worked with somebody a bunch at the beginning of that, and then at the end of that, you filmed again and you looked at yourself, how you move, what you do, you will have made progress. It just might not have felt like a lot of progress. Until you can compare it to something, you have a reference to show you how much progress you've actually made. It can feel like none has been made. But that doesn't mean that none's being made. That's the hardest part and why people give up. And honestly, I feel like we have to make it through this process. It's one of the most pivotal moments, in my opinion, because you could choose to cheerlead for everybody who's just going through those plateaus, and you could choose to rally up and push them forward and go, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. But even better, if when you're in that plateau, you're your own fan club, you're cheering for yourself, going, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. No amount of external influence ever solves an internal problem. If you have doubt in yourself, then you need time to understand where that doubt is coming from and how to measure your progress away from it so that you can be honest about the fact that maybe you shouldn't have doubt there. Maybe you are doing better, or maybe you have work to do. That happens too. And if you have work to do, go do that work. But if you measure it, you'll know what work to do. And then you put in that effort and you make that growth happen. That is something that will carry with you for the rest of your life. This part of you where you believe in yourself in a way that you never have before. Something deeper, more resounding, that you are capable. It's entirely possible for you to do anything that you put your mind to. So cultivate those fields. Point that arrow. Prepare yourself for when the progress starts feeling exponential again. When everything starts clicking into place and things move, and it will come. I promise you, it will come. And when it does, the more you have prepared, the further it will take you.